a crazy day of trades, and to try to figure some of them out here, Kevin Kernan from Ballnine.com joins us. And KK, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Dave. Yeah, it's a crazy day for sure, but a fun day. 16 teams in the playoffs, and everybody in the trading front. And I sent out a tweet, Dave, so I don't know if you saw it, but I heard I'm sourcing it out that from my industry sources that Todd Frazier was just traded back to the Mets.
Yes, from the Texas Rangers. Let me ask you this before we get into the Todd father coming home to the Mets. Were you surprised that the Yankees or even the Rays didn't do more of this trade deadline?
Very surprised about the Rays. Yankees, I think the Yankees surprised me to a degree. I think with Garcia pitching so well yesterday, they believe in their guys and getting people back from the injured list. And what have we seen from the Yankees through the years? We've seen them hold on to their talent and not trade for Garrett Cole when they could have had him a few years ago. They overvaluate their young players. They don't make the deals that they should make sometimes, and this might be another example.
Do you think the Clevenger deal started to get underway as soon as he ended up admitting to the team that he was lying about Plesac and not going there? That whole COVID-19 deal after the game in Chicago, did that start the process of the Indians getting rid of Clevenger?
Absolutely. I think Tito Francona is the type of manager, I've known him so well through the years, he doesn't suffer fools. And not that Clevenger's a bad kid and all these things happen. I get it. It's weird the way the whole world is now. But remember how he came out last year when Bauer threw the ball center field, and you can't afford that this year. As we talked last time, I think we talked early on, and I said I knew some people at the Yankees had a big talk with their players. We got to make sure we don't stray too far outside here. Bring it back into the clubhouse, and thank God everybody's good in baseball for the most part with that. But it's definitely a big part of it. They don't want to deal with that. They have young starters. They've got some good pieces. They got those pieces are okay. Quantity over quality, maybe a little bit on some of it, but it's the atmosphere that they create, and that's what creates a winning team. So. I had no doubt that Clevenger was going to be traded the moment that happened.
Some goings on last week. We were off Friday. Ben just brought it back up, so I'm going to bring it up to you, which it totally is the Mets in a nutshell.
Great story.
The commissioner talking about whatever they were talking about, and he got wind of it, and he came right out because he was so ticked about them trying to grandstand on the whole social justice stuff. What did you think about Brodie Van Wagenen and Jeff Wilpon and the commissioner in that whole little tit-for-tat thing?
Again, it's I have this phrase I always use, and it's 3 words, and it says it all. Only the Mets. And it's only the Mets, these kind of things. A hot mic, it comes out through their own Twitter feed or whatever the hell it was, and the college kid dug it out. Good for him. But that shows you within the organization how that everybody can't get on the same page about anything, and it's terrible because there's a lot more talent in that team. I watch that team and it just drives me insane. And I did a column on it the other day at Ballnine.com, and again, I've been working for them, and I can really go longer form with some things. The things that I've seen with the Mets are they're excruciating. They're absolutely excruciating. Even the other day when they lost the game, they put in Jimenez for defense, and then I think they had him at third base, and they overanalyzed everything, and they overshift. He's at shortstop now. He throws it away later in the game. Later in the inning, he drops the ball at third base. They don't respect defense. That's why I do think that this deal with Frazier is a good deal, because he still can play defense, and he can help that clubhouse situation. But Brodie, they always step in it over there. And even on the way out the door, because they're all going to be sold, we'll see what happens. We're calling. And you heard it here first. I'm not saying money solves all things. So I'm not going to be one of these Mets fans or Mets people that jump out and say, Wilpons are gone. This is going to be great now. I'm going to see how this guy reacts and see if he treats it like a baseball team and not like a hedge fund.
Do you think the culture has made a shift towards the right direction?
It's going to have to. It's going to have to. And they were trying. I know guys like Conforto were trying, but I think he went south again. And I'll tell you why. When they had their little COVID experience, that it went south. They just knocked the Marlins out in Florida. Did a lot of good things. All of a sudden, a player comes down with it, and the coach comes down with it, and that kind of upset the apple cart. And it has to improve. I know. The bullpen situation always gets worse. Diaz gets worse. He always leaves up a mistake. And when your bullpen is killing you, that's why the Mets made a trade for Castro too. I think from the Orioles. That creates some problems. But it has to clean up. And the one thing I will say about the Friday thing was that when something like that happens, it can't get any worse. Hopefully they had an air it out meeting across the board with everybody and move forward. They had great wins over the Yankees when Aaron Boone went wacky, picking up all great starting pitchers. And but they lost another one today. Lost a tough one today. DeGrom looking at his finger like he's got a blister, and they wind up losing to the Marlins, who made a couple of interesting moves.
From Ballnine, Kevin Kernan, we're talking baseball. The trade deadline, I mean, a lot of these teams had to take flyers on these kids that weren't allowed to play. Is that on Rob Manfred as well, all the minor leagues being shut down, 42 teams being basically cut from the system? I mean, we don't know how good these kids might be, but there was a lot of prospects that changed teams today.
A lot of prospects changed teams, and just think of yourself at that age, and all of a sudden you got nowhere to play for a year. Are you kidding me? What the hell's going on? They should have came up with something and bit the financial bullet to make sure these kids had places to play, even if it was a bubble fall league type thing or something like that, where you could put your best players in at least, or give them somewhere to play. But but 99% of this stuff is on Manfred, and I'll leave it at that because I don't even want to get upset to my stomach.
Have you heard anything new about potential playoff bubbles?
No, I haven't, and I'm not a bubble guy. I got to tell you, I just think I remember when you guys earlier when you had me on, you were talking about Florida and be careful, and I appreciate the caring and everything. But I've been down here, and we've kind of from where I live, it's been pretty much normal, and I think some herd immunity is kicking in. So I think you can outthink yourself with this bubble thing too, because you could make a bad situation worse. And I always go back to the fact that the way this thing is going, yes, the number of cases are up and all these other things, but you might have it, but you don't have it. It's for a lot of people, it's like the flu, or not even the flu, or they don't even know they have it. So it's it's a crazy thing across the board with everything shut. And I'm the anti-shutdown America guy, so that's what you're dealing with too.
All right. Well, the Oakland A's and the Mariners were shut down, but the A's again lead that AL West. They seem to be the best team in that division. Astros have had ups and downs. I heard through a friend of mine that works with some of the Astros players and makes their bats for them that they're kind of beside themselves at all the heat that they're taking online. Altuve, Correa, some of these guys, they're upset that teams don't like them. But let's talk about the Oakland A's. Do you like the Oakland A's chances going towards the postseason?
Well, could you imagine if they had to face real fans instead of cutouts this year too? So
I know.
With the Astros, I'm doing spring training with the Astros. The heck with the Astros. Live up to what you did. You cheated. Move forward. I like what the A's did. I always like what the A's do. I like Billy Beane. Always have. I know he's the Moneyball guy and all this other stuff, and he takes baseball stuff into consideration. Bob Melvin's a great manager. Costello's a tough Jersey kid. They had Mike Meyer too, and the A's are just they're rolling. They got some things going. To me, I might say right now they're the best team in the American League. I wouldn't be afraid. I don't see them as much as I should. But you see them a lot. You replay the games and things like that. But I love what the A's are doing, and I think they're going to be a thorn in the side for many years. And it was never a coincidence. Whenever I would go out there with the Yankees to Oakland all the time, they lose a series or maybe get swept in the series because the A's are good. They have a good team, and they know how to make the most of their whatever they have.
My favorite division, or I guess region, to watch has been the Central. Take out the Pirates and the Tigers. I think there's great baseball teams all over the place. Coming out for Chicago, White Sox, I want to talk about. What do you think that their trajectory is going? I love their young talent, and I like their attitude, but it's still not showing up in the win column.
Not totally, but I think it will by the end of the year, and I think they're a team that's a year away. And I think with the way things are this year, I want to make clear this, that anybody can grow in this October. This October, you're going to see, the young teams have. I'm not saying this is the '96 Yankees, so please don't take me wrong. But when the Yankees, the Yankees took off in '95, '96. That's why I'm not saying the White Sox are there, but they're in that trajectory. I love what the White Sox are doing. I know a lot of their scouts. They've been thinking this was coming for a long time, and I hope it does. And I hope that I'd love to see the White Sox. The White Sox get back in it all the way. But I think they're underway. I think they're a great team, and I do think that that they just have a feel for things in the front office a little bit better than they've ever had before. And you got to let these young kids grow. That's the thing. And I remember a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I was at a Rep One, which is an agency. They brought me down to see Severino work out, and some of the White Sox good young outfielders were there in the same workout. And they blew me away 3 years ago, and I said these guys are going to be special, and they're right on the cusp.
Yeah, that Jimenez is a keeper. Abreu just keeps doing his Abreu stuff. Tim Anderson is hitting the crap out of. He's almost hitting 350. I thought Grandal was a good pickup. He's a good catcher. He's a good offensive catcher. Has solidified that thing. I like the Giolito kid. He hurt his arm with the Nationals. I saw him when I coached high school out on the West Coast. The kid, he's got a power arm, and he's starting to figure it out mentally. What do you think about the Twins? I mean, Nelson Cruz continues to crush the ball. We never talk about the Twins enough. They lead that division. Can they go deep into the postseason?
Absolutely. They could have used they could have used a starter. I would love to see them come up with a starter. That would have been fun. I'm sure they tried to get Bauer. I'm sure they've went on a couple guys, obviously Lance Lynn. But, yeah, they've getting Josh Donaldson. I was on a Minnesota station earlier this week, and they've had me on about 10 times in the last 6 months because they know what I'm talking about. And I said early in spring training and preseason that they were going to be right there again. I wanted them to get one more starter, and I do think they have to get over that Yankee hurdle in the playoffs, winning 8-0 and wind up losing 3 in a row or something, some crazy thing like they always do. So, but they're there. The Twins are there, and I think bringing a guy like Donaldson into their clubhouse makes it a lot better for them. That's what they were missing.
I think it was the Tampa Bay Rays about a decade ago that was trying to get over that Yankee hurdle, and it seems like they're right there with that team, especially this season. When this all comes out in the end, I'm excited for tonight's game. Like it's crazy that we still got half the season to go, but only half the season is 30 games, and the way these two teams are playing, they might be neck and neck all the way through. What's the difference in those two teams? Who's going to come out on top of the AL East?
Well, the Rays, I said this all along with the Rays, they like beating the Yankees.
Yes, they do.
They take it as a challenge, and that's what they get old school. The Rays, and here's the great falsehood. The great falsehood with the Rays is that they're all about these guys that become GMs other places. No. Those guys are good. They do a good job, but they have one of the best, if not the best, development system. Old school baseball guys in their development system that know how to develop these players and really get the most out of them. And they've had, of course, the 9 pitchers on the DL this year, so that's crazy. The Rays and Cash is to me, Kevin Cash, and you guys can argue with me. You wonder. I think he's the best manager of baseball. I really do. The more I see of him, I think he runs circles around Aaron Boone in these series, and so it's going to be great to see because now the Yankees get a little upset with the Rays, so now we're going to see a little bit more of the Yankees, and I think the Yankees. The Yankees the Yankees need to do is have a little more faith in their starting pitching. And as crazy as that sounds, but they've become so analytically driven. And, they get the pitching coach now who was really never in pro ball or anything like that, that they pre-script things. They can't wait to get to their bullpen, but they don't see what's right out in front of them sometimes. And you don't see that this guy's dealing today. And so let him go if he's dealing. And the perfect example was Jay Happ the other day. 90 pitchers took him out. Tanaka shut out, 1 hit, 2 hits, whatever the heck it was. Take him out. Come on. Extend your players right now. Get rid of the bubble wrap Yankees. and it's push come to shove time.
At AMBS_Kernan on Twitter. He's a great follow. I love you. Make me laugh out loud when you're ripping on Boone, because sometimes I'm not watching the game. I'm listening and I'm like, why is Boone taking this guy out? And then I'll go on Twitter and you're ripping the crap out. I'm like, oh, now I know why he jumped the gun on it, and they could have won that game on Friday. So
None of my.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say none of my things are personal. It's just
no,
from
it's
a
just
baseball
business.
standpoint.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a business, and the Yankees. It's over, as I call it, over nerding. And I think we're going to come out with a T-shirt at Ballnine.com. Over nerding pretty soon. It's got to calm down a little bit and get back to baseball.
I will be ordering mine as soon as that comes out. We'll take some. Thank you, KK.
Thanks,
you be
Kevin.
well, my friend.
See you, fellas. Take care.